Hey folks, it's Nate coming at you on Friday, October 11th. Gosh, I can't believe Halloween is almost upon us. So anyway, tonight I wanted to do a quick review of a saber that, I acquired the hilt a little while ago, a couple of months back, but I just got the chassis for this delivered the other day. And so now this is now in working condition. And so I wanted to do sort of a full review on this one. So this is the StarFall Infinity Guardian, and so this is from Nick Cohen's StarFall Season 1 collection. And so what he did is he released 3 different hilts: the Guardian, the Champion, and the Acolyte, which are all differently designed hilts on the outside. The Acolyte, I think, has small shrouds, and then the Champion has more of an angled emitter and a control box. And yeah, they're all pretty cool. But the kind of the neat thing about these 3 is that they all have sort of interchangeable parts. I went for the Guardian first because I like this bell emitter, and I was looking for sort of a nice, cool, sturdy looking light side saber, and this one sort of fit the bill for me. So this has a very nice, comfortable grip section. It's a very sturdy saber, but it's not overly heavy. It's not chunky at all. It's got a nice profile, and it's got the buttons here, your power and your aux right there, and it's got really nice sound venting out of this pommel. So all 3 of the Infinity Sabers have interchangeable pieces. So like there's a sleeve here on the grip, and then the grip section comes apart here. All right. And then the pommel, let me just put this down here for a second. And the pommel comes off right there, right? So for example, the pommel, I believe, there are certain parts that are interchangeable. I'm not sure if all of them are. But then there's certain, so for instance, you can use the emitter and the grip interchangeably, and I think you can use the pommel interchangeably as well. And then also included with this, these sabers, you can either buy this chassis separately, or you can buy it along with the saber order. I think I bought this separately from StarFall's Etsy site, and this is a crystal chamber. It's a double crystal, and this chassis was designed by a guy named Derek Organ over at 5280 Concepts. It's a print chassis design shop. I think that he does more than just chassis, but he does really nice chassis design work for this. And so he is the one that did the chassis for this Infinity collection. Let me show you. And then, so this has a little kill switch here.
Always one, but born as 2.
Greed can be a powerful ally.
So that's pretty cool. I like that crystal chamber here. And this is a Proffi install. I believe this is using a 24mm speaker.
Meet Obi-Wan Kenobi.
And the blade and mirror depth on this one is really nice. It's gosh, it's about about 2.5 inches, something like that. So it's pretty, it holds the blade really well. I'm going to turn this off here for a second. So I wanted to show something else here. So the, what was it? Oh, yeah. The retention screw here. So there is a bell. This comes off somehow. Yeah, that's what it was. So, oh, you know what? I was thinking there was a piece that came off here, but I got that confused with the Alliance Saber because I was looking at that yesterday and taking that one apart. So the Guardian, this whole piece is a fixed piece, which is cool. No, what I wanted to show you was how easy it is to slip this chassis on. If you get the Saber, if you get the hilt empty and you get the chassis separately, it's really easy to attach. So if you notice right here, inside the threading, that's the retention hole that locks the chassis in place. So you just have to unscrew it a little bit until you see it come out like over the threads. It comes right out, and then you can put it in another Infinity Saber. So if you bought the Guardian, or if you bought the Acolyte, you can swap this chassis out between the two. It's really easy. And then when you want to put it in, you just line up these tactile switches. You line them up with the buttons. Just like that. And then you make sure you hear a click. Now you'll know you lined it up right on this one because that retention should just be about a ½ inch away from the edge of the chamber. But the real test is that click. Once you hear that full click, you know you've got contact. And then you just lock it in. Usually, like most standard, you don't want to dial it in too tight. You just need a quarter turn past hand tight, and you're fine. It's just enough to keep it from moving.
Always one, but born nest.
Greed can be a powerful ally.
And you're ready to rock and roll. Now I got I cheaped out a little bit, and I got the B grade version of this hilt. But I don't really, there's no physical blemishes that I see on this saber. But if you are buying sabers if you're looking to buy it, a nice saber on a budget, I would strongly consider looking for the B grade versions of these hilts on StarFall's Etsy site, because these for what they are, they're quite reasonable, and their B gradeness is Nick is a very discriminating designer and saber builder. What he considers to be B grade is what most people would consider to be A grade. So if you're getting a B grade saber from Nick's site, it's still going to be in really, really nice condition. You might find some minor nicks or imperfections somewhere, but ultimately he's not going to sell it to you if it in some way prevents you from using the saber, like with the chassis and whatnot. So anyway, so I did get the B grade version of the shell of the hilt, but the chassis was new. So since I'm in the dark, I'm just looking for the blade retention. So here's the blade retention hole right here. So we're just going to lock in this blade. And rock and roll. So one thing, a couple of things about this design. Really nice for swinging. I like this. I like where the choke point is placed on the saber. This saber's got really nice balance, and it's got a really beautiful profile. This type of saber profile, at least for my light side sabers, is really connects with me. I like these shells that leave a little, sort of a curved grip section for your hands for gripping. That's always really nice. Also, I don't have that many sabers that have the horizontal buttons left to right, but this design is really growing on me, and mainly because it's easy to just hit your ox right here, either with your thumb or move over it with your finger, right? And hit your power without having to move your hand around to get to the different buttons, or without, doing this when they're vertical. So I do like this power ox design. My own personal preference, if I were to design it this way, I would probably put my power here and my ox here, but that's just me because of where I like to instinctively go when I'm wielding a saber. But it works just fine this way too. And then also I will say, so when I first got the chassis, I had a problem with my ProffiOS. I couldn't get the SD card to mount right away because of my OS, so I messaged Derek and asked him if he had the source config file for the program on the board, and he was real responsive, sent it to me right away, so I was able to flash it, get my board to mount, and start tooling around with it and making my own changes with sound fonts and stuff without a problem. The config he has, the source config he has for this build, is really straightforward, well done, with good, with some good defines in there. So props to Derek for that. I never actually interacted with him directly a whole lot, but I do remember his name cropping up in the Proffi support groups, and he's a really knowledgeable guy when it comes to programming. So I wasn't surprised to see both a well-designed chassis and a well-programmed config on these chassis for these sabers. So yeah, and then of course always props to Nick for these beautiful designs. I know we all have our hearts set on owning one of Nick's one-of-one sabers, some of his unique stuff, but these production run sabers that he's doing, they're a little bit more affordable for the rest of us, are still just incredibly beautiful. These are the saber lines that compete with the KR sabers or the 89 sabers hilts or the saber trios. With regards to the price points, well worth it. So let's talk cost. So I got the B grade version of this hilt, which was somewhere around $180, I think, the empty hilt. I think the standard hilt is somewhere closer to $240 or $230, something around there. I have to check on his site. I'm not entirely sure. The chassis was $300, so altogether I was looking at a saber which ran me just under $500 for the two main components. So right away for me, based on the quality of the design of both the chassis and the hilt itself, definitely good value for that, for what you pay. So and now that I do have a chassis, I do intend on going back and getting the other two hilts off of this series. So I'm going to go back and get the Acolyte and go back and get the Champion, and then tool around with part switching and stuff, and have some fun with that. So now that I have a chassis, I can just slip it in whichever one I want to play around with, I'm good to go.
Meet Obi-Wan Kenobi.
All right, so this is the StarFall Sabers Infinity Guardian from StarFall's Season 1 Infinity release. Now he will be also releasing a Season 2, if I understand right, with another 3 hilts. I don't know if the same chassis is going to be swappable into those, but I hope it is. I have to go and check out and see if he's done any reveal videos for Season 2. I think he may have, and I just may not have seen them yet. So, but when the Champion and the Acolyte come in, I'll probably do a follow-up review of those as well, just to show you what they look like. So, all right, y'all, take care. Have a great weekend.